Goodness. All right, let's do it. Let's open the can of worms. Gonna offend some people today. Gonna start crying that I... What's up, Hunter? My office. You want to see what my office looks like, guys? There's like stuff all over the floor. I mean, look, they're like all right here. I might actually need to turn my camera the other way to kind of put them. Yeah, hold on just a second, guys. Hold on just a second. Vortex Gunner, nerds. We're just gonna make a pile. We're gonna make a giant pile of firearms right here. Hold on, I promise. It'll look better. Okay. There we go. How does this look, guys? I'll try to get in here. We're going retro. Cool unknown. So, yeah, it's because Jesus loves me. This I know. Because my Glock told me so. Is that better? Is that okay? You see all the guns and stuff? See me and the guns? Shit. Sort of. My office is like all my stuff fell over. E-Ride, what's going on? I would really love for some people to hop in and have some controversial takes. I wonder if I can set up a Google number real quick. Josh, what's going on? Hey, sorry guys. Hello out there. Unknown. We got 26 people watching. So, as you guys know, I put a very open statement. Hi, Lisa. I put a very open statement there, or very, I guess, controversial statement, because there's a lot of people that are not happy. There's a lot of people that are happy about it. There's a lot of people that aren't happy about bombing Iran. Cool. Ollie, awesome. I'm Ollie. I grew up in Alaska. I know exactly what you mean, bud. Grew up in Alaska. Know exactly what you mean. I'm going to try to fix this. Never mind. I don't want anything to fall. Okay. So, we are going to talk about Iran. I said I was going to talk about it today. Winchester, what's going on? So, we're not at war, Glitch. We're not at war. So, a lot of people don't understand. They think that just because we've taken a military action that we're at war. So, I don't think we're about to go to war. At least not war. Like, everybody has their definition of war, all right? And so it's a very ambiguous statement. War, the conventional idea of war, is when two opposing forces have their militaries trading blows in an effort to secure some political outcome or to gain land. So like Ukraine and Russia, that is two militaries fighting. All right. What's going on in Iran, that is not war. That is security. All right. I think President Trump, whether you like President Trump or not, the strategic goal was to denuclearize Iran. And for those of you that are unaware, I'm sure most of you are smart enough to know this. For those of you that are unaware, Iran is how you pronounce the name of that country. If you don't pronounce it correctly, I'm gonna struggle as to whether or not, I'm not trying to be an elitist, but it is Iran, and if you're gonna comment and you're gonna have an issue, I can't hear you say it, but just so you know, that's how you say it. So if you're gonna talk to somebody about it, make sure you say the name right. Alrighty, so we've got the goal up there. Just want to make sure that was there. Yeah. Now, we have plenty of oil here in the U.S. We have plenty of oil that we can get without having to go to Iran. So, let's talk about what's going on. There are some people, like there's another guy who's on right now. Somebody shared a video in a group that I'm in. Politics is in there talking, and he doesn't support Trump. Big smoke. We're not at war. All right. So first of all, you have to define war. All right. Now, if you want to use the definition that we're attacking another country as war, okay. Well, how did we go to war on terrorism? We didn't declare war on 12 other countries. All right. If that's the case, then we've been at war with Iran because Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. So, if like the war on terrorism has never ended, and since Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, we've been at war since 2002 with Iran. So it's not a new war. It's just a war that they've continued to fight. So we can go that route if you want to go that route. Now, who by a show of hands, comment, who here is mad? Just say I am, whatever. Who here is mad that we went and dropped bombs on Iran? No? Okay, I can understand that. I can understand that, Null. Null's the first person who's actually said, Null, why do you think we should not interfere with Middle Eastern problems? The reason I ask is because the last time we didn't interfere with Middle Eastern problems, where we weren't directly taking kinetic action, there were 2 buildings that were smashed with aircraft and 3,000 people lost their lives. So that's why we get involved with Middle Eastern problems. Because the Middle East, because somebody also said, well, whenever we drop bombs, it doesn't promote peace. Someone name the last time the Middle East had peace. Please, if you could just type the year that the Middle East was not experiencing some kind of war between tribes or other countries? I'll wait. I'll wait on that one. If you think you have the answer, I hope you've read your Bible. We were in the Middle East, but we weren't conducting military action. We were conducting peaceful whatever. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Jolly. Some of you get it. Correct. The Middle East is the most war-torn spot on the planet and has been since the dawn of time. All right? There has always been war. So, JLo, you're using the, thank you, Cobalt, you're using the term interfered. What do you mean by interfered? Israel may be shady. Look, here, I'm not going to say you have to look at things. You have to look at things from the perspective of our nation. What nation does America put first before any other nation? We're talking about Iran, that guy. Resilient One, what have we obtained from being world police? Well, there hasn't been another terrorist attack resulting in 3,000 deaths on American soil since 9/11. So I'm going to call that a win. Can anyone here name? Or tell me the number of American deaths that have occurred since 9/11 total due to some kind of conflict? So we have allies. Yeah, we have allies. Yeah, we have economic interests. Yeah, the Red Sea, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Red Sea. Yeah, that's like 18% of the global economy. Everyone should have an interest. Like that's what I mean. Yeah, so the total, the last time I checked, because there was a Canadian dude who commented on one of my videos, and the last time I checked, because it had to do with like Canada wanting to go to war with the U.S. and everything that happened after Afghanistan. There have been a total of like 3,500 U.S. deaths since 9/11. Military service members. 3,000 people died on 9/11 that were not military personnel, civilians. Okay? All right? Israel's been dealing with that back and forth with Hamas, with Egypt, with other countries since they have existed. All right? Since they've existed. I am a normal dude. No, I am a normal dude. So, I'm sitting here just... We're not at war, Ferna. And if we are at war, it's a war that has been continuing since the war on terrorism because Iran sponsors terrorism. Iran has repeatedly said, J-Lo, that they want to destroy America, that they want to destroy Israel, that Israel is a cancer that needs to be removed, that America is the great Satan, that Israel is the little Satan, that the allies and the westernized Muslims and Islamic nations in the Middle East are also infidels. Okay, Ferna, go for it. That's fine. That's fine. You're right, Whiskey. It wasn't a war. But again, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, we're at war with Iran, but we've been at war with Iran since 9/11, 2001. No, that's because That's because American hands don't talk to American feet, Resilient One. Uh, so, Timothy, I'm already in the reserves, so I don't give a shit whether Gen Z is going to take care of us or not. I'm already involved. Like, it's not like I don't have sweat in this game, you guys. Okay? I fully understand. I fully understand. You guys think that I'm just some random dude talking from his basement that doesn't have any sweat in the game. All right? I'm involved. I am intimately involved. What I'm saying is everyone who's saying, "Oh my gosh, we started another war." Well, if you're going to use war, if you're defining what we're doing in Iran as war, then we've been at war with the entire Middle East. Any country that sponsors terrorism or has terrorism in it, we've been at war since 9/11, 2001, and it hasn't ended. Resilient, I was there last year, so okay. You have no idea. What? Hey, Resilient, what's your role? Or are you just a civilian that sits on your keyboard? Shut up. Bro, man, dude, I have 3. I have a SKB, I have a Winchester Model 120, and a Mossberg 930. Big Smoke RC. You're cute. You're funny. You can think that all that you want. Cool, that's awesome, Resilient. Thank you for serving. I appreciate it. Regardless, man, there's a lot of haters in here. That's fine. Cool. I've been in the Air Force since 2005. Thank you for your 4 years of service. I've done counterterrorism. I've done counter drugs. I've done counter human trafficking. I've done operations with Southcom. I've done coalition operations in Qatar. Let's see. I've done operations in Europe. So I've kind of seen some shit. I've been through some stuff in the 20 years. So I do cyber operations. So like everything that, that the military touches now. Cool. Good for you. That's awesome. I'm in Davis County. So anyways, cool. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate it. Everybody poops. Anyways, so Iran being attacked was great. Yes, I support Israel. I fully support Israel. I support Israel because of all the nations in the Middle East, I trust Israel more than any of the other nations. Hey, Gunnar, what's going on? Go ahead. Look me up, Big Smoke. Are we? Does anybody in the reserves really only work on the weekend? Because there's no active reserve personnel. There's nobody that ever does anything on more than just a weekend basis. So, correct, Ferna. That's called hygiene. It's something that normal people do. Yes. Thank you, Logan. Agreed. Resilient. I don't know why you keep saying MOS. Like, you keep saying MOS. Okay? I've said that I'm in the Air Force Reserves. You keep saying MOS, and as someone who was in the Air Force for 4 years, you should know that we don't have MOSs. I've said it several times. Iran. I don't know what you're saying. Iron. Absolutely brainwashed. Yeah, I don't have an MOS because I'm in the Air Force Reserves. So we don't have MOSs, which is like, as someone who's in the Air Force, you should know that. Yeah, it's that guy. That's really weird, right? There we go. AFSC. There we go. Yeah. Brainwashed. That's right. Okay, so, no, I have an AFSC. I'm a 17 Delta 7 2 W, I believe is what it is. My AFSC has changed like 6 times in the last 5 years. Yeah. Pakistan during Black Hawk Down, prime example. I mean, Black Hawk Down was in Somalia, but yeah. Okay. Again, Fernet. I have said it like 4 times, Resilient 1. All right? I've said it. 17 Delta. All right? Which is, I do cyber operations. I do cyber operations. Yes, cyber operations. Cyber operations. Joint operations. Here's my pedagogy. All right. Currently in cyber operations. Work with F-35s. I have acted as a cyber operations security manager for the Combined Air and Space Operations Center in Qatar. I have done joint counter-narco-terrorism task force with the Army. I have done joint combat comm with Navy personnel. I have done secure communications for the Biden inauguration. All right? That stuff. Combat comm, Resilient 1, combat comm. You know, in case you're wondering. But all right. Logan, yes. I do combat comm stuff. Combat comm, F-35 comm. Anyways. Oh, everybody left because, you know, all we've got in here is a bunch of people attacking my military service, but that's fine. So anyways, the U.S. bombed Iran. Whether you like it or not, they did it. It was the right decision. Because Iran has been claiming for years that they want to destroy America, and they want to destroy America's allies that are Middle Eastern countries, that they want to establish a caliphate, just like ISIS, because they supported ISIS. They want to establish global Sharia law. They want to wipe Israel off the planet. So everybody who is opposed to us attacking Iran, you're pro all of those things, correct? You're pro Sharia law, pro killing American allies that are Middle Eastern countries, pro wiping Israel off the map. And I think that's awful, Resilient. I think it's terrible that that happened to you. But you don't have a better perspective than me. Are we pro those things or not? Are we pro Iran sponsoring terrorism? Please, by all means, is anyone in here pro Iran sponsoring terrorism? Because they do. They do. Yeah. Are we pro Iran sponsoring terrorism? Anyone who's in the chat, please, by all means, say, like, let us know if you're pro Iran sponsoring terrorism. Are you pro Iran sponsoring terrorism? Yes or no? I'm asking a question. Well, does Iran sponsor terrorism? Do they? Does Iran sponsor terrorism? Let's start there. Let's start really easy. Is there good or evil in this world? We'll start with that. Let's define. Is there good and evil? Does anyone want to argue good and evil? Okay, so there's good and evil. We can establish that there's good and evil, but both. Okay, so Zavada supports terrorism. All right. So we know that Zavada supports terrorism, which is really weird. All right. Do we all agree that terrorism is evil? Is terrorism evil? We're starting really easy, guys. These are really simple, straightforward yes or no questions. You see, all the people that were in here that were telling me that I'm brainwashed and I'm full of propaganda, I'm asking the question, is terrorism evil? Well, there's a definition of terrorism. It's using politically motivated violence to threaten or coerce a political action that includes the death of innocent individuals that are unrelated to any act. Okay, so terrorism is evil. All right? Terrorism is evil. Does Iran sponsor terrorism? Stelio, ask a different question then. Ask a different question. What's a better question to ask, Stelio? What's a better question to ask? All right. What's a better question? Well, you're saying that attacking Iran, who sponsors terrorism, who has called for the destruction of the U.S., the destruction of Western society, the destruction of U.S. allies, the destruction of other Middle Eastern countries that have Western ideals, and the destruction of Israel, who have said that they want to do that, who have said that that's their goal, and you're saying that us stopping them from using probably one of them, obtaining and using one of the most effective tools to acquire that goal is wrong. Whiskey helps. If someone threatens your family every single day, all right, and then they announce that they're going to buy a machine gun the next day, do you not take any type of action? So, because what I'm feeling, what I'm feeling, and what I'm seeing from the chat is a lot more. You guys are upset because it supports Israel, and not so much that it was an attack on Iran. Okay, so you're against. So you're saying you're against all those things, but you're not against Iran. Whiskey helps. They had like 27 hostages, U.S. Navy servicemen, like 10 years ago. They held them hostage and demanded ransom. I'm allowed to express whatever the fuck opinion I want, Resilient One. I'm not expressing it as or on behalf of the military. I'm expressing it as me, the below average Utah dad. So, and there was the whole Tower 22 thing that happened last year. Or did you forget about that, Whiskey Helps? Did you forget about the 3 Army service members that were killed at Tower 22 in Syria through Iran? If I was active military, Resilient One, I could say these same things. I am allowed to have an opinion. I'm allowed to say my opinion. I'm not saying it. I'm not putting on my uniform and then saying, as a member of the Air Force with this rank and this experience, this is I can no longer support. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it is not wrong that we attacked Iran. We don't have boots on the ground, Whiskey. Yeah, I've got all kinds of patches. Those are patches that I have been associated with. Zavada, 100% America benefits from the actions it takes. Again, I asked that at the very beginning. Who does America have, whose interest does America have first? It's America's interests. Okay? America puts America first. Just like Israel puts Israel first. Just like Iran puts Iran first. Every country puts their own country first. You can't run a country without putting your own country first. All right? I'm sure that there are victims in Iran and victims in Palestine. I get it. I get that. I'm not saying that there aren't. What I am saying is that I am an American and I'm putting America's interest first. Iran provides more arms, funding, and weapons to terrorist organizations that you don't recognize the definition of how I'm describing terrorism. Because, Zavada, you have repeatedly said that you believe that Iran's support of those organizations is freedom fighting. Okay, we're on diametrically opposed points of view in this. So nothing I say, your ideology is going to be the opposite of my ideology. All right? What are America's interests? Well, for one, to not have another 9/11. All right? We're going to start there. To not have another 9/11. If there is never another armed conflict where civilians, where there is a loss of life, like 9/11, I don't know, Stelio, I didn't ban you. I haven't touched my computer, so. Explain the dancing Israels. How about I don't? This is my stream. Whiskey, I've already said I'm in the military, dude. I'll go if there's a war. But there's not a boots on the ground war. I was in Qatar last year. Okay? Gotcha, Stelio. Yeah, so I actually have a lot of people that are under the age of 18 that subscribe to my channel. So YouTube builds an algorithm so it might block certain things. Yes, I'm using, you're right, Resilient. You're right, Resilient. I am using 9/11 as a justification. I am using the innocent death of 3,000 Americans as a justification to fuck anyone who wants to harm American lives. You're correct. Why don't you instruct all of us on the dancing Israelis? So, I do get that Iran wants to do that. We just do it better. Look, this is the way the world works, guys. This is the way the world works. Everybody puts their interests first. America does it better. So if you hate America, or if you think that America's wrong for putting their interests at first, I hate to break it to you, but that's the way America's been since 1776. There are Y2K, and I don't understand that, but, you know, that's fine. So there were Jews that were dancing and cheering, or there were people that lived in Israel that were dancing and cheering. A more stable, more westernized Middle East is definitely in the U.S.'s interest. Because resilient, you're starting to sound more anti-Semitic and anti-Jew. All right. The USS Liberty incident. Yeah, I know a lot about the USS Liberty. I know a whole bunch about the USS Liberty. See, this is the difference. I've been talking about something consistently. I've been talking about anti-terrorism. I've been talking about security and safety for the U.S. I've been talking about U.S. interests. Everybody that's been opposed to me has said, well, what about this time that the Israelis did this? You guys are so anti-Israel and so anti-Jew and the Jewish people that it's like you're telling me that I'm brainwashed because I'm saying this is in America's best interest. All right? We haven't even gotten to any of the stuff that affects the global situation. All right? We haven't got to any of the things. Whiskey, dude, if you think that Israel being gone from the U.S., if you think that Iran having nukes and then wiping out Israel is good for the U.S., you're an idiot. I am pro-Israel because Israel is our greatest ally in the Middle East, whether you trust Israel or not. All right? I trust Israel more than I trust France or Germany. If you trust France or Germany more than you trust Israel, you're a moron. Okay, boomer. All right. Okay, ignorant shitbag. It's called spent 20 years in the military and doing a lot of coalition stuff. You're right, they're not NATO. I don't care if they're NATO. I do believe in Jesus. What? They provide intelligence. They provide support. They provide economic purposes. They have one of the largest Intel facilities, so they provide CPU infrastructure for everyone who's using a smart device right now. Like, you guys, if you weren't so anti-Israel, you'd know what Israel does. So, yes, I believe in Jesus Christ. I do believe what he taught. Here it comes, guys. How many times have I said, yes, I believe in Jesus Christ? No, they don't. How do I feel? So what you're saying is you're quoting something that certain extremist rabbis believe, not what a regular everyday. You're not quoting the Torah, because I've read the Torah and the Old Testament, which is the Torah. It is in the Talmud. And who is the Talmud for? I do love my enemies. Is the Talmud for all Jews? Is it for all Jews? Thank you, James. I appreciate the sentiment, James. I don't agree with with more than 2 terms. I think that's wrong. Well, what I'm asking is, okay, so let me ask you this, Whiskey. All right, since we're going to go that way, what's the difference between the Bible and the Book of Mormon? I agree, Stelio. I'd rather see that. I do like J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance is pretty dope. I think he's a cool guy. Well, you're saying you're stating that the Talmud is definitively scripture that is for all Jews. Is it not? Resilient, you went from how do you feel about that to not die but disabled and get subpar healthcare. You're talking about your stuff with the VA. The VA sucks right now, and I do feel for you that. I'm very sorry for that. I think that the VA needs a serious overhaul. So I feel you for that. My dad has disabilities, and several of the guys that I grew up with have disabilities. I have a buddy that I served with for 2.5 years in the Army when I was deployed doing anti-terrorism with the Army, who got hit with an IED, and he has a TBI and he has permanent damage in his spine, and he's not getting treatment. So I feel you, Resilient. I'm not going to take that away. Sorry guys, my computer's doing something weird. I gotta refresh. No, because I'm not a Jew, and I don't practice Judaism. Thank you, Fern. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. I do not claim to be why blind support Jews. So you are anti-Jew. So you are an anti-Semite. The Jews hated the Christians too. Is that where this stems from? Is it because Christians for a bunch of people who are saying we shouldn't be involved, we shouldn't have bombed Iran, we shouldn't have done all that. Everyone seems to be perfectly comfortable with the Jews getting wiped out, with Israel being wiped out. Everybody left, and I'm a moron. I'm propagandized. I'm brainwashed. I'm a boomer. Pretty much, I had my post. I think all the people that agree with me, I think they left well, obviously this guy's not an idiot. And then everybody that's here, I think for the most part everybody doesn't agree with me, but that's okay. I am not a practicing Mormon, Resilient. I am not. That's fair, Ratfink. What's up, Mexicans? Here's what I think. I think that for the most part, that this is what's going on. I think that President Trump used the powers of the office of the president, which is the commander-in-chief of the military, to take strategic action against Iran, to destroy their nuclear facilities so that they cannot develop nuclear weapons. And I think that a lot of people really don't like President Trump and really don't like Israel. And because President Trump recognizes the strategic value of having a strong ally that is very pro-US in the Middle East, that also happens to be Israel, and supporting them. Thank you, Stelio. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being a little bit more I don't know, just willing to converse instead of just accusational. Again, Iran has said, how many times has Israel said, we want to nuke the entire Middle East, or we want to nuke the entire Western culture? Yeah. How many times has Israel said that? How many times has Israel said, we need to completely destroy Iran and Yemen and Qatar and Syria and Iraq and Egypt? How many times has Israel ever made that claim? Like, Israel has never claimed to want to completely wipe any of those countries off the map. Now, they've always said that they want to have, they're more than willing to have a two-state solution. They're more than willing to live in peace with Iran. Iran, and it comes down fundamentally to the religious side of things. It comes down to the Jews claiming to be the descendants of Abraham through Isaac, and the Arabs and the Muslims claiming to be the descendants of Abraham through Ishmael. And so they claim that that the descendants of Isaac lost their birthright, and the descendants of Isaac, the Jews, have said that the descendants of Ishmael never had the same birthright. I don't think it matters who she voted for. Resilient, I'm still in the military, so obviously I'm willing to die for a lot of different purposes. I'm going to follow the lawful orders of my commander-in-chief. So, yeah, and that's what I mean. The fundamental truth is that the reason that the Muslims hate Israel and the Jews is because Isaac, the son of Abraham, was taken by Abraham and taken in, whereas Ishmael, who is also the son of Abraham, but was not by Abraham's original wife. It was by their handmaiden. I think it was Rebecca, maybe. And they were kind of disowned when Ishmael tried to kill Isaac. But the Israeli, or the Muslims, believe that the reverse happened, that Isaac tried to kill Ishmael, but that Abraham still favored Isaac, and it goes from there. Cool. Very good. Okay, let's read Kings 9:4-9. To humor 9:4-9. Let's see what it says. Speaks to Solomon. God speaks to Solomon, outlining the conditions for the continuation of his dynasty and prosperity. God promises to establish Solomon's throne, blah, 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 blah. Where is the King James Version? And it says, and if thou wilt walk with before me as David thy father walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and wilt keep my statutes and my judgments, and I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever, as I promised to David thy father, saying that thou shalt not fail. But if you shall turn from following me, then I will cut off Israel, and this house which is high, even one that passeth by, shall be astonished and shall hiss, and they shall say, why hath the Lord done this unto us? And they shall answer, because they forsook the Lord their God, who brought forth their fathers. Okay, what about it? This is the covenant. This is the covenant that that God, who in this case, the God of the Old Testament, is Jesus, that Jesus is talking to Solomon, who is the son of David, who was, I can't remember if David was of the tribe of Judah or not. I don't think that he was. I think he may have been from the tribe of Ephraim. Anyways, what about it? Correct. Nothing is unconditional. God is a conditional God. God is 100% a conditional God. Zavada, Jews and Arabs, the divergence happens at Abraham. Biblically, it happens at Abraham. The Jews are the descendants of Isaac, and the Arabs are the descendants of Ishmael. So it's a little bit before, it's a little bit past Noah. It's a couple 100 years past Noah. Couple, like probably close to 1,000. Yeah, that's not the way that it works, Resilient One. That's not the way that God works. God is conditional. God is conditional, but God also teaches in the New Testament that we are each responsible for our own actions. And so none of us will be punished. None of us are punished because of the sins of our fathers. Dude, Noah happened before Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael, Zavada. Check again. Noah was way before Abraham. Noah knew Adam, but biblically, if you read it, Resilient, that's not the way that God works. He does not punish children for the sins of their fathers. If he punished children for the sins of their fathers, wouldn't he have punished Solomon for the sins of David? Just saying. Wouldn't he have punished the children of Peter for denying Christ 3 times? That's not the way that God works. Very good, Cobalt. Now you're getting it. Now what Christ does teach is he's very big on integrity. He's very big on integrity. It was saying that Israel could fall. All right. Now, through the birth and death and resurrection of Christ, through the atonement, all right, Israel still, so like that's where you're differentiating. We're still children of Israel. Okay? We are still children of Israel. Okay? If you're of the tribe of Dan, you are a child of Israel. You are one of the tribes of Israel. All right? Now, Well, that's not true because technically all of the United States is a tribe of Israel. I did read it. I did read it. Solomon's kingdom fell, but the tribe of Israel, the Lord made a covenant with Israel. Okay? The Lord made a covenant with Israel. Let's get biblical now. Okay. The Lord made a covenant with Israel. The Lord does not break his covenants. His covenants are fulfilled. All right? Just because Judah, one of the tribes of Israel, is not fulfilling the covenant does not mean that Dan, Gad, Asher, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gideon, that they are not fulfilling the covenant made with Israel that is passed on to his descendants, of which we are. So, to say that the covenant made with Israel and, like, in turn, America, which is based on Judeo-Christian values, through the tribes of Israel, like, okay, so perhaps Judah is not inheriting